Broadcast is live. Okay.
Okay, so third week in a row. We'll see how long we can keep this going, Lee.
Get a streak going here.
Yes. Yeah, so we'll keep it going for as long as we can. Um, and this time, and like I was saying just a bit ago off camera, um, I got everything ready on time. Luckily, no technical issues. So
Becoming an expert.
yes, people are gonna think I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I don't have that danger, you know. Everybody knows better than I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, so I think you want to start giving. I guess we can start getting into what's happened this week since the last time we streamed. Um,
Um, well, yeah, we've a little bit of progress. We got our first beta customer, although I'm not sure if you can call them a beta customer until they actually register the software, and they haven't registered the software yet. So, Aster,
yeah,
if you're out there, register the software so you can be an official beta user.
yeah, he's gonna be the first one. I wonder who's gonna be the first one.
Yeah.
Maybe someone in the audience will be.
Yeah, go download the software. Just register it. You'll have our undying appreciation. And if you use it, that's even better.
Yeah, yeah. So that's one of the things we've been working on. So this week, I guess we've been getting more traffic with the efforts that you've been doing, Lee, as well. Getting traffic to the site. Um, we've had a few from the analytics. I've seen that we had a few visits to the registration page. Quite of them, a few of them are bots, um, but we can tell when it's a legitimate registration. And like Lee mentioned, we got one this week, so that's big for us. We'll continue growing, the social media reach, hopefully, as we move forward little by little. Hopefully these live streams and answering questions from the audience regarding um, the framework or anything that we're doing. um, what else happened this week?
Um, been starting to post on forums more.
Uh-huh.
Started putting the Antwerp project out there onto some forums just to kind of see if we can get reaction to that and maybe get some clicks from that. At this point, it's all about just getting people to notice us.
Yeah.
Everything I've read about doing what we're doing here with a startup, the hardest part by far is getting that first set of users. And that's turning out to be true. It's about as hard as we thought it was going to be,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
hopefully we're going to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably excited about working with someone on their project, right? And kind of
Yeah,
showing
yeah.
them that.
I really want that first project that we can help someone be successful and help them build a robot.
Yeah.
Maybe help 10 or 12 people build robots.
Yeah.
I
um,
promise anyone out there thinking about it, we can make you get there. We can help you get there with C Sharp, doing simple C Sharp programming.
yeah. Another update is that we have a new logo coming up. So
Oh,
that's in
yeah.
the works. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, something a little less generic.
So here, hopefully, pretty soon, within the next couple weeks, hopefully we'll have something. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, something to put on the website and give us a little more specific identity.
Yeah. Okay. So what are you going to be demoing today, Lee?
Well, so last week I showed building a network with the Robby framework, a real simple network that's talked to an Arduino card. We tested the network through the Arduino card using the testing console and the framework. And today I'm going to take that little simple network and I'm going to actually write, well, I'm not going to write it. Most of it's already written, but I'm going to go hook up a C# program to create what we call a master control program, or MCP, that is going to be talking to the same network, but doing it through a C# program and a dead simple little UI.
Okay. All right.
So should I get going on that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Oh, I got to get two monitors on this thing. Oh, wow. What was that? Oh, okay. Okay. Can you see my screen?
I see your screen. Yeah.
Okay. I guess we need Teams on there. All right. So, first, let's see. I've got the Robby Framework UI running here. And just to kind of recap where we ended up last week, we built this little tiny network called the demo network. And it's hooked up. I don't know. Can you still see my camera at all? Here's the Arduino card we're talking to, if you can see it.
Someone's asking if I can turn up the volume, so I'm thinking they're not able to hear you.
Ah,
All right, there we go. That's better.
did that help? I moved the mic boom up closer to my mouth.
I'm able to control it from this end.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
in the chat, let me know if this is better.
Okay, so this is the testing console in the framework UI. And I'm just going to show here real quickly what's going in and out of the Arduino card. Oops. Only been using this for 3 years and I still don't know how. Okay, so this form here just assembles some JSON to send through to the card. Let's see. And now I push this button. And you can see here, this is where the message we sent out to the card. So this is the same JSON we sent. And then we get this little response back that just says, okay, you sent out a pin state of true, and there was no warning came back from the card on it. In real life, we use this same sketch on an Arduino to run a T800 power supply card that has 6 different power channels we can turn on and off automatic or programmatically. So anyway, this is the network that we're going to go look at, and we're going to hopefully have working through a C# program here instead of through the framework's UI. So I'm going to close up the framework here, and I'm going to bring up Visual Studio. And so you can see I've already written the code here. I don't think people are going to be that interested to sit here and watch me write code. But what we have is this dead simple little UI. It's got a text box and a button. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to push that button and it's going to send that same JSON package out to the Arduino card. And the response that comes back from the Arduino card is going to get appended into the text box. And here's the code behind the dialog. You can see this is the click command from the click response coming from the button, and this feeds the text box here with this little event. And this here is our MCP class. So master control program is what MCP is again. And when we say this is an MCP class, what we're really saying is this is a class that inherits this master control program base class. So you can see right now it's got the red squiggly lines under it, so it's not really hooked up. So I'm going to start out by showing what it takes to kind of install or deploy a Robby network into our C# project here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go back into the Robby Framework UI. And I'm going to use this configuration folder builder dialog. And all this does is copies the configuration for the network, as well as the first time we do it, we're also going to copy the runtime files for Robby into the program folder for the project. So I'm going to come down here. Let's see here, Robby demo WPF. And we're going to get down to the runtime folder for the project. And I'm going to tell it to include the Robby framework runtime file since it's the first time we've done this. And I'm going to click that. And we just copied all the stuff down there. So now this folder was empty a second ago. And now you can see these 5 folders here, the configuration for the Robby network and all the pieces that it uses. And then down here is all the runtime files. So that's that. Now we're going to come back into Visual Studio here. And the first thing I need to do here is to add a configuration file. Since Visual Studio 2022, you no longer get one of these by default, I guess, because it's more oriented towards .NET Core now. But it's real easy to add one in, and we're going to add a configuration file here. And then one of the files we copied over there when we did the configuration folder builder was this app settings.xml file, which we're going to take the complete contents of that, and we're going to copy it into the configuration file. So this sets up the program to be configured to use the paths to get to all the configurations it needs to for the network, etc. So I'm going to save that off. And now we're going to come over here and add a project dependency. So I'm going to browse out back into that runtime folder, and I'm going to create a dependency on master control program live.dll. It was copied into the runtime folder there. So now that I've done that, you can see here, this has no longer got the red squiggly line here. We can see the master control program base class that we're deriving the Robby demo MCP class off of. Now you can see we've got these 2 classes here, power control command message and power control feedback message, that still have the errors under them. And these are classes that match message schemas from the Robby framework. So I'm going to show a little trick we can do here now. From within the framework UI, I'm going to come in and open the message schema builder. And these 2 classes, power feedback message and power control command message, actually those are model classes that match these schemas from the framework. And I can, in the message schema builder dialog here, I can press this C# button with that schema loaded. And as soon as I do that, you can see it pops up over here in the Solution Explorer for the project. That was the power control command message, and now you can see it's gone green and is no longer white with the error message. So I'm going to do the same thing for the power feedback message. What's happening here when I do this is the framework is actually creating source files for these classes and popping them into, I configure it within the framework where to copy them to, and it sets up namespace and everything else, and here's the little class that it created and popped in there for us. So all that's automatic. We don't have to write any of that code. And now we've gotten rid of all our little red squiggly lines, hopefully. And the thing should build.
Looks like it.
Yeah, it falls right with the world here. It should build. Now I got to go check something here. It's been doing a weird thing lately, and it did it today. Every so often when I do that, it wipes some of the runtime files out. That's something I got to figure out. But not a big deal. I just have to go put it back again here. It's a little tedious. And it bugs the heck out of me that I don't know why it's doing that, but I will.
Good old Visual Studio.
That's right. And we're in beta, you know. Things are going to happen sometimes in beta. So I'm going to tell it to copy the runtime files again. And tell it to go. And I can tell because this channel lib.dll, which is one of the main, it's the DLL that runs channels in Robby, goes away. It's very interesting. Anyway, it's back now. So with any kind of luck, I'm going to be able to run this. Hey, look at that. It actually ran. And if I push this button, I'm sending the message and I'm getting the response back. So right now the pin number is random. So it went 0 that time. This time we got pin 3. But you can see I'm sending that message out and getting the response back from the Arduino. So that's what it takes to hook up to an Arduino through a C# program. And just to look a little deeper into the code here, really this line here, so when we set up a network in Robby, each channel in the network has one of these events that you can subscribe to. And that's going to get you any information coming off of the devices on that channel are going to come into that event. And then it's a simple matter of creating an event handler to do something with that message as it comes back, which in this case, we're evoking the event up on the form on the dialog that just puts that message that comes back up onto that text box. So that's how the messages come in. Now, these lines of code look exactly the same regardless of where we're getting that message from or where we're getting that data from. If I'm doing an RP LiDAR device or if I'm doing camera, whatever I'm doing that I'm receiving data from, this looks exactly the same here, these lines of code. I get the message comes in, I deserialize it using Newtonsoft, and I've got that class that I set up for the message schema for that channel. Now, when I push the button and send the message out, ultimately I'm calling this send message to channel function, which is a function that's included on the base class, the master control program base class. And it also is dead simple. So this is that model class that I got from the Robby framework that I populate up here in the dialog. So I instance one of those and populate it with pretty much just random information in this case, but a pin number. And then whether I want the pin to be get pin state or even. So basically I'm just telling it true or false for the pin or on off for the pin down here. If the pin's less than 3, I'm going to set it on. Otherwise, I'm going to set it off. And it sends that down into the MCP class into send power message. The MCP class instances up. Well, first it deserializes it, turns it into a string, into a JSON string. Then I instance up this little event arg class where this is part of the framework, part of the master control program base class, or at least that's where it's defined, this MCP message event args. In it, I just tell it the channel name and the name of the MCP connector I want to send it to. And then I send it off calling this send message to channel. And that's it. Once again, regardless of what I'm sending that message to, whether I'm sending it off to Azure Custom Vision to do object detection or a command for Intel depth camera, all of the different things we can talk to with the framework using connectors, this part of it always looks the same. It's these same few lines of code to send messages out to devices or services and to receive messages back from the devices or services. Always the same. And that's what Robby's all about. It's to make it simple and straightforward. Always the same thing. So that's my little demo. I guess I'll stop sharing here.
Yeah, that was straightforwardly.
Good.
Yeah, we have a couple questions. So actually,
Good.
one question from our friend Michael.
Michael's back. Good.
He's asking if he an object handler, but I'm not sure what he means by that.
Object handler. Well, we have an event handler. This is an event handler here. And it comes back as an object when everything that comes back from the framework comes back wrapped in these MC message event args classes.
And then remember a couple weeks ago, I sent you that video that I found on the internet from I think it was CNET that was reviewing Astro.
Oh
That
yeah,
robot.
yeah.
Yeah, Michael is saying that he's playing with one. Do you have one at with you, Michael, at home?
Oh, that's that Amazon Astro, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, I'm really jealous. He gets to play with one of those.
yeah,
That's interesting. I wonder, does it do anything similar to this when like with it? I guess it has its devices built in, and that's pretty much what you get is the devices that it has built into it.
yeah. I wonder if it comes with some type of framework out the box that you can build up on
Well,
top of
there's
that.
bound to be. Yeah, I know it's programmable, so there must be
Yeah.
ways to talk to its devices.
Oh, he says they're not allowed to take it off campus, but at work he probably has access to it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm very jealous. It's like when we went to that place in Oakland the other day, and they had the Boston Dynamics spot there. That was
Yeah.
I was so itching to get my hands on that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we want to do is be the thing inside of those, or at least in something like those.
Yeah.
But I think what we bring to the table is with these connectors, the polymorphic connectors we're doing, we should be able to connect to whatever's out there and always be pretty much the same thing that we're doing it with, the same code that makes it happen in the background.
Yeah. I think it would just be, like we know that a lot of the work that we are going to be doing is building new adapters, right, for devices as we go.
Yeah, that's the number one
Building up a
project that's
library.
left. Yeah, building up the
Yeah.
library. Right now, we've got about 8 of them. The idea of them is they're going to cater to protocols, so like TCP or serial or HTTP or whatever you're doing in the way of protocols, but then also to specific devices. Like we've got one for an RP LiDAR device and services. We've got them for right now for the Azure Custom Vision. Um, I know Michael's partial to the AWS stuff, and we are planning to cater to that here soon too. It's one of the connectors that's coming up towards the top of the roadblock right now is AWS connectors that do similar things to what we do at the Azure stuff. And we'll go, it's going to really come down to what do people want? What are people really trying to do? And those are the first things we're going to build connectors for. Like right
Yeah.
now with the serial, we can do Arduino cards and Raspberry Pi cards. And TCP, we can do that too. TCP is really good. Another thing that we haven't talked about much that we can do here is we can have connectors that connect to other MCPs. Is very simple. We do that quite a lot. So you have, that's becoming a more and more popular thing. They're calling it collaborative communication or collaborative robots. And you get that out of the box with Robby. It's just another connector. You can use TCP for it. We're also going to be setting it up to do HTTP for it. It's really simple with TCP and really effective. Right now, we're mostly using it to do remote control type scenarios. So I can run a robot. I can run our Antwerp robot from a master computer sitting in the middle. But this is completely free form networking. Basically, any MCP can talk to any other MCP on a peer to peer level. So the robots can talk to each other, or a human can be in there on a computer talking to the robots. It can be pretty
Yeah.
much whatever you want.
Or you could have a robot that's talking to an IoT application somehow, um, or vice versa, right? Something that
Yeah.
some kind of sensor that at home that triggers, I don't know, your lawnmower to go mow the lawn or something.
Your robot lawnmower, my Lamba. Yeah, actually, that's something on my roadmap here. I've been doing some little IoT stuff around my house, and I'm going to plug all of that into Robby here really soon. Like I've got a
That's pretty cool.
surveillance system in the house that I'm going to plug in. So I have, we've got our Antwerp robot that's going to be kind of the master robot, and I'm going to have a couple of other little what I call whisker robots that are going to travel around and be directed by Antwerp, and then I can direct Antwerp to do whatever I want. And the way the networking works, there can be multiple levels of this. It really is freeform, so you can set that kind of communication up however you want.
Yeah, there's so many possibilities.
And we
Um,
really want people to come up with ideas, and we'll help you make your idea happen.
yeah.
I've been at this for 3 years with this thing, and I know how to make it do what we want. And if we don't have the connector to make what you want to do happen, we'll make the connector. I'm getting to where I can turn out these connectors usually in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
We got any more questions?
Um, there's some generic questions. There was one where they're asking us on Instagram, um, what what made us get into programming?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, what motivated you to enter the world of programming?
Boy, for me, it was because I bought a computer in 1979 and it really didn't do anything. There was like two little pieces of software that came with it. It was a Radio Shack TRS-80. But the one thing it did do is it had BASIC on it. So I decided to start playing with that and came up with an idea for a game and wrote that game. And that was once I wrote my first program, my first loop, my first control loop in a program, I was hooked. That's all I wanted to do from that point forward till 40 something years later. That's still what I want to do.
Here's another comment from Michael. I don't know if you can see it.
Nah, well, I don't have to have my thing minimized now because I'm not sharing anymore. We actually have that now. We're releasing robots for the fulfillment centers connected to IoT. Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, Robby's going to be able to control that uh, pretty much however you want to. Although I don't expect Amazon's probably going to be a customer for Robby anytime soon. I think we got to start a little smaller than that, and we got to start with people who are a little more interested in Windows
Yeah.
than Amazon probably is at this point.
Yeah, and then the other thing that we learned, right, after we went to that circuit launch, right, in Oakland a couple of weeks ago, is that we don't we don't have very good chances of someone that has already been working on a project for a while to start using Robby, right? That's something that
Yeah. Yeah, that was a lesson learned. If you got a guy that spent 2 years getting Ross to do what he wants it to do, it's not very likely that he's going to throw that 2 years away so he can take on Robby. Maybe someday, if Robby starts really getting popular, then maybe we could convince people of that. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime real soon.
yeah, I think I think we now know, right, that we want to get people who are thinking about a project or have an idea in mind and they don't necessarily know where to start. um, those I think would be perfect for our first users.
Yeah, that's our big beta, our ideal beta users.
Yeah.
Calling it Proteus. Okay, that's what you're calling this talking to IoT with your robots. That's interesting. Is it sentient yet? You know, Google claims, or that guy at Google claimed theirs is getting sentient.
Yeah. But
I'll believe that when I see it.
you don't say that because
Yeah, I guess the guy got in trouble for saying it.
I think he got let go.
Oh, I didn't hear he got fired. I heard he got suspended. I don't, but I'm real curious to know what they got going on.
Yeah.
But you know, back to what you were saying about our ideal beta people, I'm really, I've been thinking a lot about we ought to target C# programmers, since that's what we're working in, and C# programmers that are interested in robotics and want to get into it.
Yeah.
That would be an ideal for us to help some people like that get their first project done, and that could start being a path to just getting it out there a little bit, showing people what it's capable of.
Yep.
So hopefully one of those people's going to watch this show here one of these weeks. I
Yep.
see no evil. I see no evil. Yeah, me either. Well, sometimes I'm a little evil.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to getting a rhythm going with these this live streams. Something I've been thinking about is maybe create some kind of form, maybe like a Google form where we could get questions ahead of time, or maybe topics that, or maybe suggestions on maybe demos that we could do. I'm thinking
Oh, you know, that's a great idea.
that could be maybe farther down the road, as far as people asking for a certain type of demo, but at least we'll get questions ahead of time.
We should put that up as a form on the website.
Yeah, that too.
That's a good
Yeah, but
idea.
then I'm afraid that we might get a bunch of bots, right?
Robots.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
got to get a little more religious with the captchas. You know, I just did the captcha pretty minimally. I need to get in and actually look what the captcha says instead of just having them click on it and say, okay, it's good.
Yeah, Michael's saying that Google
Google
Forms
Form.
are great.
Okay. So what are, you know, I haven't used Google Forms. Is that something on Google, or how does that?
Yeah, yeah. So you pretty much create a form, a custom form with whatever fields you want, and then you
Uh-huh.
could share. It's a shareable link you get, and you can just have people fill it out.
Ah.
So,
Ah.
so for my trip coming up next week, that's how they organized a lot of it at work. So, for
Okay.
example, trying to get everybody's arrival times, whenever they're gonna land, and then when their flight to come back home is going to be, and all that stuff. I guess it's a good way to organize it. It worked out pretty well.
Yeah. Well, that's actually, so it would just be a link then that we could put anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great idea. And then when I post on forums and stuff like I'm starting to do, I could have that link in there.
Yeah.
Post ideas. I've got a number of ideas for demos we can do. We can keep going here. The data storage system, and start playing. I've been playing. I got the arm working. I tell you, I got the robot arm working.
No, you did
Yeah,
not.
I finally
So
did.
nice. So good. That's good. So
Yeah,
they
you
get.
know, I ended up going back to the old card.
Okay,
I
that was my
never
next
could get the
question.
new card working. Yeah, I had to go
Okay.
back to the old card, but I managed to put it back together, and it's working fine now that I figured out what was going on with it in the first place, which is where the Dynamixel servo dropped its ID.
So then this means that you're gonna have to be using the older version of the Arduino
Yeah, the
IDE.
Arduino IDE. Yeah, yeah, and it's going to be like that as long as I'm using this thing.
Okay.
Someday I'll get rich and famous and buy a better arm or buy a newer arm. There's nothing wrong with the arm I got. It's a really nice one actually from Trosson Robotics, but it's obsolete. It's 3 years old. So, but I got the camera mounted on the arm, so I got the depth camera mounted on the wrist of the arm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, we're starting to make progress here. That's it's this all comes back to fetching the beer from the refrigerator. So we got it recognizing the beer, and now the next thing is to get it to where it can pick up a beer, which is where it starts to be a real challenge. So
Yeah.
I'll be able to recognize the beer with the upper camera on the robot, and then I get close to it, and the camera on the arm can then be used to actually recognize how to pick up the beer until when it's centered on the beer and I can go grip the beer and pick it up. That's
That's
that's a little ways off yet.
on the video. Remember on the video about that I shared with you about Astro, that it was Astro was delivering a drink. It has, I guess, like a little tray. I don't know if you saw that
Yeah,
part.
yeah, I can do that now. Well, not really. I'm not till I get Slam going.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
the
so
other
the
thing. Oh, go ahead.
slam, right? Getting slam going.
Yeah, yeah, that's even I can get it going right now with using the MATLAB home version, but I won't be able to do anything that we can sell with it until we can turn it into a DLL on MATLAB, make a connector out of it. But I'll be able to start demoing it soon, demoing occupancy maps and using them for navigation. It should get interesting.
Yes.
That MATLAB is wild stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we should start wrapping it up, Lee. And so I think this one was a short and sweet one, about half hour.
Yeah.
Um, so so this week I'll work on coming up with that Google form, and we'll get it wired up.
Yeah, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great idea for questions and ideas. Yeah, I really like that. That's excellent. Well, thanks to everybody for watching. Good to see you again or talk to you again, Michael.
Oh,
You're our best.
Michael
Uh-huh.
is saying that he uses MATLAB. So
Oh, cool.
same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, same
very
thing you're
cool
doing.
tool. I just started with it. I'm a newbie all the way with it, but wow, it's wild stuff. Really interesting language and interesting the way they do it. I only know basic math, so I don't do much with it except I'm doing Slam with it, and it's really cool stuff. I really like it. The way I
Yeah.
talk to it right now from my program is I use it as a comm server, which comm is ancient history stuff, but I can talk to it as a comm server and treat it just like I can talk to it with C# programs, and it works great. But it's not something I can sell because you have to have MATLAB running on the computer for it to work. If we get the MATLAB coding module, then I can turn things into a DLL. I can turn MATLAB algorithms into DLLs and incorporate those into connectors, and then that's something we could actually sell. 9600 baud. Something's running 9600 baud.
Yeah, he said this for stem files and then 9600.
Oh, I get it. I get it for M files. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably enough. There's not that much in them. They're pretty small. And that's probably what's happening on the comm server thing I'm doing. Well, good talking to everybody.
Yeah,
Really
thanks.
appreciate you coming by, Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Michael, for joining again.
Tell
Hopefully,
us
we
where
get to
you
see you
get to
next
work.
week. Yeah, and for everybody on Instagram, thanks for joining. We appreciate it, and we are going to be here next week. Same
Same bat
time.
time, same
Yeah,
bat
same
channel.
time, same channel.
God, nobody even knows what bat channel means anymore, probably.
Probably not.
Back to Mars. That's right. Now that we know what it is, that's interesting stuff.
Yep. All right. Well, have a good one, everyone, and thanks again for joining.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Bye.